Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, intuitive coach and founder of the Awakened Goddess Academy. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Melissa Zoske is an energy and wealth alignment expert, specializing in clearing subconscious blocks in people, allowing them to align to their natural abundant state. Her background includes extensive certifications and training in many quantum field energy techniques, including the healing codes, EFT, the emotion code, the law of attraction, kinesiology, the Akashic records, and more. This combination, paired with her own approach, has allowed Melissa to develop her own distinct signature energy healing formula called the Zoske method. She's worked with hundreds of women and men around the world, many entrepreneurs, helping them achieve a life of success, health, and happiness. Now let's welcome Melissa to the show. Welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show, where we co-create powerful conversations on the leading edge. Today I have Melissa joining us to talk about what's keeping you stuck, how an expectation can hold you back, and how to move forward. So welcome, Melissa.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. So much fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun because I volunteered myself as a guinea pig, and Lord knows, you all know that if you've been watching the show, I put myself out there all the time, and I do hope that my experiences help you as well. So we're gonna play a little bit later, but first, before we do that, why don't you tell us? You have a really unique way of approaching your work. So I want to hear, what was the journey that led you to bringing all this together, and then get a little more specific and tell us what your secrets are. What are these techniques that you use?
Okay. Well, what brought me to this work originally was a lot of pain. I think that a lot of us, that's how we get to this area of growth and change, is we have to go through a lot of pain. And oh my gosh, in 2008, we went through major financial, and I had major health struggles from the financial stress and all that went down. You remember the bubble in 2008? It was horrible.
Oh yeah, I was right there with you.
Oh my gosh, it was a time where everything started crashing down for us. And what that did for me is my health just went down the tube, flipped on an autoimmune problem, and I could not seem, ruined relationships, and I could not seem to get myself back to a good path. I went to the doctors, I couldn't get help there, tried all sorts of alternative medicines from, I think I did a raw food diet for like 6 months, totally raw. I mean, pureed for 6 weeks and then just raw for the rest of the time. And I saw all sorts of naturopaths, acupuncturists, all sorts of different people, and I wasn't getting better. I mean, I improved some, but I wasn't getting better. And so I think it was about that time that I ran into that book, The Secret. I love that book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
And yes, about how our thoughts created. And I've always known that I was supported. As a child, I remember talking to this support system, talking to God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, and always connecting and feeling safe. And then somewhere along the line, I lost that. It was like getting caught up in teen years and whatnot, and it became further and further apart. And when I read that book, it brought me back to that earlier memories, that connection, and that guidance that we get so naturally when we're children, that we actually listen to and actually follow. Mm-hmm. And when I read the book, The Secret, it brought me back to that level of our thoughts do become things. Our emotions from those thoughts create our world. And so when I started dabbling with that and really letting that sink in, and I mean, I did all sorts of things from Abraham Hicks to all law of attraction things. But what I found was I still wasn't reaching that level that I needed to achieve to get completely better.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I finally was able to realize that, you can have affirmations and you can have sticky notes all over my house, everywhere. I mean, sticky notes, I go to the bathroom, sticky notes everywhere. I listened to the audios. I did everything so 24/7. But it wasn't until I realized that it ran so much deeper, that this programming was so much deeper, that my consciousness, that only runs what, 10% of the show or less maybe,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't actually allowing, the consciousness wasn't allowing the subconscious to, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't allowing that to work. So what I had to do was dig deeper and find that those early memories that I couldn't even remember, that were had a lot of trauma. I mean, we're talking early memories from birth memories.
Mm.
When your mother was stressed out and you were inside her forming, things that you inherited, like, you inherit more than eye and hair color, right? You inherit past traumas. I mean, there's science is showing this right now. It's awesome. It's so great. But we inherit so much from our ancestors going back, who knows how many years? Could be thousands. And that's all playing in your subconscious. So when I started digging deeper in that, and I realized that, wow, I need to change that subconscious programming in order for me to change how I'm actually experiencing my life today and my health, that's when everything changed. I had started using energy work. I started with EFT, which was my first energy love,
Mm-hmm.
tapped my brains out. I was tapping all the time. It was awesome. I loved it. But I still found that I needed to get to even earlier roots than what I could remember. That's the inherited, or the things that were in the subconscious that I'd covered up. Because the most painful things we don't remember, we cover them up often.
Right.
So I had to just dig even deeper and find more. I got trained in so many modalities. And one of my favorites is the healing codes. And I love that because when I ID, and I use different forms of testing to ID where that really early root is, when I can ID that early root, often generational, and then I do a healing code, it's also grabbing other things that are in that resonating field. So I'm not only working on the thing that I think I'm working on probably a gazillion other things at the same time. So how much easier can you get than that? Plus
Right.
it's relaxing.
Well, yeah, because it's like a weed. All of
Yeah,
these things are intertwined, and when you pull out one weed out of the garden, it's like it has all of these little tentacles
yeah,
and yeah. And
it does.
one of the things that struck me as you were talking was that feeling like you've done everything.
Oh,
And I think I went through that, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people that have felt like, God, why is this not changing for me? I've done everything. I've been the perfect student. I've done this, I've done that. I've paid coaches, I've meditated. So I love that, you're expressing that this is something that you have experienced as well.
oh, most of the people I work with have tried so many different things. It's like this journey. Once you get on it, there's so many wonderful tools out there, and we as individuals pick whatever resonates with us and whatever seems to work the best. And I use a mix of tools. I love the healing codes because I can give it to my clients, the people that I work with. I can give it to them to work on themselves.
Mm.
They can do it daily. They're not just coming to me, I'm working on them. Because I use other modalities when I work with a client. I actually work on them in that moment with other modalities, right? With other energy techniques. But then I give them this tool that empowers them to continue on working through those blocks as the weeks go on. So it's beautiful. And
Yeah.
you can add it. I think it's very complimentary of, I can't think of anything it wouldn't be complimentary with.
Hmm.
That's why it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I love that you're giving the power back to the person you're working with, because I think that there's a lot of modalities out there where there's like this separation between the healer and the client. And I think that we're going into a time when it's so important that we have the tools to do for ourselves and to have all of these tools in our tool belt, our spiritual toolbox or whatever, and just be able to pull out something and not rely on always having to go to someone else
Right.
to do our own healing because our bodies are natural healers. We're designed to heal ourselves if we have. I hear people talk about like the blueprint. Um, so yeah, so let's talk more about the like the blocks and the patterns and the things that we bring in from our ancestors.
Okay, and I love what you said about how our bodies are designed, because our bodies are designed to self-heal,
Yeah.
period. And so there should be, they will do that if you have nothing getting in the way. So the blocks from your ancestors, it's so cool because they are doing studies. I mean, they're doing even animal studies on these little mice right now that show the trauma from the parent mouse goes down to the child mouse. And they're showing that, I think the last study was on cherry blossoms. Have you read that study?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where they took the adult mice and they put little pads on their little feet, which is not very nice, but and every time they brought cherry blossoms out, they would give them a little electrical shock. And after a while, they didn't have to wear the pads. They would just bring the cherry blossom out, and the mice would freak.
Mm-hmm.
So then those mice, they wait several months. Those mice had babies, and the babies had the same kind of reaction to something that shouldn't have been a danger to it at all. The babies grew up a little older. They brought in the cherry blossoms, and they reacted. They're finding this with they just did another study, I think, with the concentration camp victims and their children, years, probably grandchildren or later now, are experiencing some of the same kind of anxiety and stress
Mm-hmm.
around similar feeling, anything that resonates, anything. It could be something that's not different, obviously. I mean, that's different, obviously, than being in a concentration camp, but anything that would cause that kind of trigger,
Mm-hmm.
it's amplified. Their stress is so amplified. So what I do is I use a form of, it's kind of in the family of kinesiology for finding ancestral traumas and stuff like that. So I test back. It's a little more woo, but I test back. And I find where that really early root is. Is it 6 generations back? Is it 7 generations back? Is it mother's side, father's side, female, male? What is it? And then we then work on clearing that early trauma that we can find and asking also that any other things, any other energy blocks that are resonating in that field be cleared at the same time. So we're pulling this all forward to our now and we're clearing that whole line. We can't do it all at once because
Darn it.
I know I was
Don't we
that way.
wish?
Actually, I was like hammering it when I was first doing this work. I'm like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to make myself feel great. And I pushed it and, what I can do. But when you push it with this, especially, you can have some healing responses. And if we cleared everything all at once, we would probably not survive it. So we have to allow our bodies, our spirit, our soul to help all come together and figure out what it needs to clear first and trust that it's the right thing. And it may not be what you think you want right now.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
because we've taken on all of these blocks or these, we're creating some sort of protection for ourselves in a sense to help us feel safety. So with the mice, for example, they're trying to be safe so they don't get shocked. And so
Right.
it's incredible to think about all of the things that we take on. And it's when you think about our ancestors and I mean, everybody's been through tremendously difficult lives, a lot of struggle. And
Yes.
for us to all be carrying a piece of that, um, I mean, yeah, certainly.
Right.
If we were to try to clear all that at once, we would
Oh,
feel like our skin was ripped off and we would be so raw, we just wouldn't be able to handle it.
right. I just really trust in my body. Like I said in the beginning, I pushed it and I paid. It landed me on my butt. It was very powerful. And I was like, whoa. I didn't really catch it the first couple times. I was like, I'm still going to go forward. Because
You're
I want
like,
to get this done.
I'm fine, I'm fine. And
Yeah. Yep. So it's one of those things where, yeah, you're right. Everything is here to protect us. Those earlier experiences are part of our evolution, right? So that they're here to teach us that's not safe. but it's not true. And also, a lot of it that they went through was perception. It wasn't even real traumas that they went through, it's all how they saw it.
Right.
And so, I mean, your subconscious doesn't know whether you're really being chased by a lion or not. So it just thinks, oh my gosh, I'm being chased by a lion,
Mm-hmm.
run, or whatever, and it doesn't know the difference. So when we are going through that kind of trauma, our subconscious, our body feels as if it's actually happening to us. So going back and resetting all that, clearing that root, will help you when you get a trigger today, something similar. You'll be like, I don't really think that's a problem anymore. And it's weird at first when you start seeing how
Mm-hmm.
different you feel. You're like, wait a minute, I had it happen. And here's the cool thing too, is when you're working on one thing, you're working on so many other things that you don't even know about. One of them is I had a shark. I was scared of sharks. I was like, not go in the ocean at all. I was like, nope, there's sharks in there. I think
Oh, no.
Jaws at an early age or something. And I would not go in the ocean. And we had gone to Hawaii a few years ago, and I decided I was going to go snorkeling. And my husband's all, "What? You're going to go snorkeling?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" He's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Okay, so we're snorkeling. Well, go out and snorkel." I'm like, "Oh, the fish are so, how come I've never done this before? This is amazing." And then I stopped. I was like, "Holy, what?" I'm like, "Okay, there's might be sharks in here." I mean, I just realized that at this
You're
point,
like,
right?
where am I? How did I get
I
here?
know, exactly. And then I looked around. I'm like, "Am I going to have a panic attack?" Because I've had a panic attack trying to do this before.
Mm.
And I've never worked on it because I only go to the Maui once a year. So, I mean, I don't. So I looked around. I said, am I going to freak out? I went, no, I'm not going to freak out. I was so excited.
Yeah.
Went looking for turtles and I was so happy. See, I had worked on other things around fear, and it cleared a fear of height and it cleared the fear of sharks that I
Yeah.
know of. I mean, that could have cleared a ton of other stuff that I don't realize at this point.
Yeah. Well, and I love this because the old school way of dealing with past traumas and this kind of stuff um, was that you had to feel into the emotions and like reenact it or really experience it. And this is a much more gentle way.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes you do have to feel it. If it's something that's really sticky and it's just not leaving, you have to step into it and acknowledge it
Mm.
and say, I see you, you're valid, I appreciate you. And so that's just another way I approach things. Even with the healing codes, I'll use that sometimes. I'll use other modalities for that too, like doing shadow work and different things like that, where you have to feel it and acknowledge it because it doesn't want to leave because it needs that extra attention. So, but with the healing codes, it's usually a lot more gentle, like you say. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
So I would love for you to describe what the healing codes are a little bit more, so people get an idea if they've never heard of it before.
Okay, well, it's a self-help system what that you use on yourself. So it's a process basically. I like to look at it like meditation almost. Usually I lie down when I do it, but you can sit on a table and I mean, you can sit next to a table, but you're using your fingertips and you're pointing them around healing centers around your head. And when you're doing that, it's opening up that healing center and going to that area, whatever's connected to that, where like one of the things that we believe is like, okay, the throat area is more of the thyroid in that area. So it's going to work with every system around that.
Mm.
The hippocampus, the pituitary, all those are all brain engines and they're all connected. So we're thinking that when we're pointing our fingertips to these areas, it's opening up those healing centers and connecting to whatever emotion or traumas that is leading to. It's kind of that pathway.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're doing this, you're basically placing an intention of what you want to work on, what you want to heal. And you're asking for help from Source God Universe to help clear all unknown and known cellular memories and beliefs and programming that you have, anything connected to this thing that you want to heal. If you can find an early memory, then grab that early memory and ask for that to be healed as well. Kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with EFT, but it's similar to that in finding early memories.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you place your intention and you let it go. And then you're going to sit back and you're going to focus on something positive, something that makes you feel good. So for me, that is, it could be when my son was born, when I looked into his eyes and I'm like, oh, it was so amazing. So I'll think of that. I'll think of I'll pass through whatever makes me feel good because that feeling, that emotion is what's helping you neutralize those beliefs, memories, traumas. That's what you're doing. So you're focusing on something that feels good.
Hmm.
And you're going to point your fingers around the healing centers as you're doing this. And that's opening up. So we have four healing centers. One is right between the eyebrows, right here. And you're pointing your fingertips around 2 inches, 3 inches, it doesn't have to be perfect, between the eyebrows.
Hmm.
And then you're holding it there for 30 seconds or so. Doesn't have to be perfect again. Um, Focusing on something good. If you're having a really bad day, you can just relax and breathe, focus on breathing. And this is where what we talked about earlier, if you have something that's really bugging you, sticky, bad feelings, you can just give it some attention. It's okay. The most effective is the higher vibration. But
So say for example, you're walking down the street and you have an altercation with someone. You can just kind of do that.
well, you're using four positions. So we have one that's between the eyes, that's right between the eyebrows, and you're holding your fingers there, 2 inches away. Then we have the throat, right in the middle of the throat, right next to the Adam's apple. We call that Adam's apple. You're holding your fingertips 2 inches away from that area.
Hmm.
And then we have the jaw, so again, 2 inches away, and then temple, and 2 inches away. We're waiting 30 seconds between each. And this is the universal code, starting with the bridge, Adam's, jaw, and then temple. And then you keep that cycle going for around 6 minutes or more.
Hmm.
Usually it lifts. Usually you can get it. That's what I love about the universal code is that usually doing that cycle will lift it for you. And it grabs other things too, because just that person that bugged you on the street, it's not about that person that bugged you on the street.
No.
It's about what that reminds you of, that echo or whatever that tone from that earlier experience, whether in your lifetime or inherited. So you're grabbing a lot of things at the same time, and you're neutralizing that early trauma, the early memory, the early emotions around that trauma or memory, and you are neutralizing it as you do the healing code. So
Hmm.
it's pretty amazing.
It is, and so simple too, in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what is the I'm always curious about the kind of like the behind the scenes of how that works. Are
Mhm.
you able to explain a little bit about how that works?
You know, the healing centers, you can try to explain. That's why I was bringing up like the pituitary and they tried to link those centers to different brain engines,
Mm-hmm.
and because that makes the most sense of what it's doing. But like with anything energy, it's like doing acupuncture and chakras and meridians. We're just using these pathways to clear energy blocks, basically. And these are opening up those pathways with energy that we're getting. It's not coming from me, it's coming from source. It's
Mm.
coming through me and it's working from source. Whenever you're trying to do it yourself, you just get drained. So you have to get that energy from outside of yourself. And, through prayer, intention, that's how you connect to that energy. It's been hard for me to really, I've even listened to other people's conversations on describing even how acupuncture works. I mean, how does sticking a needle right in that spot really? Well, it connects to that energy system. Well, how?
Right.
Um,
I know.
it's like, it's energy. And I think that we are understanding so much more every day, but we don't understand everything. We just have to trust and know that it is working. And if this particular modality or that particular modality is working for you, then go with it. I actually, the first time I used a healing code, I had because I've been doing other methods more often. I actually had a stiff shoulder that wouldn't go up. It's like a 40
Mm.
shoulder. I was like, what the heck? What's going on? For 6 months. And I did this healing code. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Laying here going, oh, hope nobody walks in on me. I'm just laying there doing this code. And I did it for a couple days and the shoulder went back to normal. And I was like,
Mm.
what is going on here? I mean, it's not healing the shoulder directly, it's healing the underlying root cause. It's healing the emotional root that I found that happened to be right before this experience happened, the physical experience happened. But I did it for a couple days. The pain was gone. I'm like, yeah, that was a coincidence. It had been 6 months. And so I stopped doing it and then it came back. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Mm.
Did it again and it went away again. And that was I think that was just my message. I was being guided to look deeper into this.
Hmm.
And not everybody has that kind of experience that quickly, but for me, I haven't stopped since.
Yeah.
Every day I do a code.
Well, and that's how we all kind of find our journey, our thing, find that path is something, something is a catalyst to kind of get us going
Yeah.
down that path. So, that's a great story. I'm wondering if we can have a little fun and do some playing now. Well, not really playing. It's this is serious business, right?
Yeah.
But we want to have fun with it. Um, because I'm really fascinated by as you're describing this, and I've never experienced it before. So I would love for you to walk me through this a little bit, and also walk the viewers and the listeners through it, if you can.
Okay. So do you want me to go through the instructions again, or do you just want me to start off with?
Yeah, why don't we just start off, and then as we go through it, you can kind of
Oh,
walk me
okay.
through it. Yeah.
All right. So, do you want to clear like blocks to up leveling or maybe asking for guidance for how you can move to that next level? Is
That
that a
that sounds
topic?
great. I think up leveling is an awesome thing that a lot of people
Yeah.
would love to do. So, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
get out of my own way.
Exactly. All right. So, since we have a huge audience here and we want to pull in everybody, I would like everybody to think of a couple things that they know are blocking them from moving to that next level. And that could be maybe it's fear of being seen. They know they need to get out there, but they just can't do it. Or they're so overwhelmed by the things going on with their business, or relationships can up level too. This could be with anything in life really. So whatever it is that's keeping them, let that make a list, quick list if you want, or you can pause this and come back to it later. But figure out, you think about that. If you can't think of anything right off the top of your head, it's okay. You just open yourself up to removing anything that's blocking you from moving to that next level. Okay.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the healing prayer, and this is the very generic prayer that I give to my clients. It's not magical in any way. It just is helping you because some people have a problem with that. Okay. So I'll just
Hmm.
state this, and then I'm going to have you follow through with the hand positions. And as we're doing the hand positions, I will guide you on how to feel and think so that you can relax and clear those blocks. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So we ask that all known and unknown negative images, unhealthy beliefs, destructive cellular memories, and all resulting physical issues related to this upleveling in my life, business, relationships, anywhere in my life. We're also asking for guidance to help us move to that next level. We ask that all known and unknown negative images, unhealthy beliefs, destructive cellular memories, and all resulting physical issues again, by filling us with love, light, life, and truth. We also ask that the effects of this healing be increased to the highest level for our greatest good at this time, and that it be gentle, easy, quick, and pleasant. Now you're taking both hands, fingertips almost touching, and you're going to position those about 2 inches right between your eyebrows. And you're going to hold that position. I'd like you to focus on something that makes you feel good. Could be a good memory, maybe when your child was born, a great relationship, a moment when you just felt extreme love. And you're going to relax and ease into that emotion, that feeling of love that those memories give you. And breathe nice and easy. Next position is both hands Adam's apple. Again, around 2 to 3 inches away, holding your fingertips almost touching. Allowing light to fill every cell of your body. And relaxing your shoulders and breathing. Now we're moving to both hands, jaw. Both hands, jaw. Releasing any negative feelings, any negative emotions. If you find any earlier memory that's uncomfortable, it's surfacing for a reason, let it go, let it clear out. And breathing deep. And both hands, temple. Pointing your fingertips 2 inches away from the temple. And if your hands start to wander, you can touch the temple and then move them back again. Allowing in love and warmth. And we're starting back over between the eyebrows, which is called bridge. Fingertips pointing right between the eyebrows. And allowing yourself to relax. Letting positive memories come through, replaying those in your mind. Both hands, Adam's apple. Your body is totally relaxed and gently floating. Feels so good. And breathing nice and easy. Both hands, jaw. Both jaw. Allowing whatever's been disrupting your peace to come forward and leave. You don't have to hang on to it any longer. And then both hands, temple. Both temple. All you need is to feel love and light. And this neutralizes anything negative. Okay, I usually like to cross my hands over my chest. Take a nice, easy, deep breath. And just kind of like open my eyes and become aware of your surroundings again. Start connecting with everything around you. And you can do this for longer if you feel it. I always get my eyes all watery. You can do this for longer if you feel like you want to. I usually start people off with around doing this cycle for around 6 minutes. Sometimes it's strong enough where they need to do only one cycle through. Sometimes it feels so great. I did it for 50 minutes one time. That was had a little bit of negative repercussions from that one. So powerful. But it's like, okay, I'll be a little lighter next time because you get a lot of stuff surfacing at once. So
Mm.
yeah, just be easy and listen to your body, listen to what feels good. And if it says, okay, enough, don't do as much next time, then you'll do it. You'll listen to your body, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the tendency, at least my past tendency would be like what you did, just kind of keep going and push. Oh, let's get it all out. Let's go, go, go. But yeah.
How did
Yeah.
that feel for you?
Really interesting. I could definitely like as soon as we started, I felt it was very powerful and like I felt like kind of like a really soft expansion kind of feeling around my head, and then I felt like around my heart like a little bit later that kind of I could feel that was activated.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
And every time is a little different. Every time you do it, even if it's on the same topic, it's going to have, because it's going to grab different roots. It's going to say, okay, we cleared this, but now, hey, over here's more important. Or she went through this today and it's really ringing the tone, the echo from this over here. So it might veer off. So you have to be open. Actually, the best way to do it is to be open to whatever your healing intelligence knows is best for you, because our higher self knows the best. So being open to that, even though like you might have like some physical pain that's really bothering you right now, and you're like, my physical pain's not gone. You don't know what's going on a deeper level. There could be something like if you have carpal tunnel, let's say,
Hmm.
you're like, my carpal tunnel isn't getting better. Why is it getting better? You might have something else going on that you don't even know about that's way more important than carpal tunnel.
Right.
You're going to trust your healing intelligence to spend that energy going where it needs to go to remove blocks to the other problem. Or are you going to say, nope, I don't care what the other problem is. I want to work on this.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but I'd rather the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, and my mom, she's had similar. You were talking about your shoulder.
Mhm.
She fell and she hurt her shoulder about 6 months ago, and it just hasn't been healing. And so, I love this. I'll have to have her try this. And
Yeah. And we get these things that happen, an injury like that, and some people heal and some people don't. It's sometimes it's not the injury itself is why you're not healing. It's something that's underlying often that's making it not heal because it's using that to ask you for its attention. So
yeah,
it's just giving you clues.
it might be that she won't stop.
Exactly.
She's a
There's a
go,
lot
go, go.
to hold on to and yeah, and
Yeah,
carries burdens and there's a lot that goes on with shoulders.
yeah. Well, so what do people often come to you for? Like, are there, like, is there do you work mostly with women or entrepreneurs, or what do you find that people come to you for?
I work with a lot of women. I have had some men, some cool men, but I do work with women mainly. Funny that I usually end up getting the entrepreneurs that have been burnt out and they're at the end of their rope and they're either getting some kind of physical issue or they're so stressed out they can't function anymore. And so what we do is we work on, okay, why isn't your business successful? Why aren't you moving to that next level? Or why isn't all the work that you're doing going places? And then usually what you get the physical symptoms because your body is saying, hey, you're not taking care of me. So self-care is so important.
Hmm.
And this is a very complementary process to self-care, obviously. There's a lot of different techniques for self-care, but it's usually that as I get a lot of people there at the end of the rope, and entrepreneurs are huge for that, especially during launches.
Mm.
Launches burn people out. I mean, I get a lot of phone calls right before launches. So, and bottom line is if you have beliefs and you have struggles from like depression era from your grandparents or any of those things, you're not going to move to that next level as easily, or sometimes not at all, if you aren't clearing those beliefs around lack, struggle, self-worth, poverty, money's hard to make, work is hard. You have all that, and work is going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
struggle. And if you feel like you don't work, if you're not worthy of it, or it's impossible, you're not going to move to that next level. So those are the people I work with. They usually come to me. Sometimes they just come to me with up-leveling problems, or they're just wanting to change their life. They want to find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And other times they have hit rock bottom, and they're like, and I've worked with some pretty big people that are, you would never think that they are having, because on the, on the online world, they look amazing, everything's going
Yeah.
great. Like, well, you look like everything's going great. What's going on? They're like, oh my gosh. No, it's not. This is so going on. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're like, let me tell you, and then they're like, talk about all the things.
They keep it quiet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because they have that appearance, the way they want to appear to the world, but they're suffering just like everybody else. And it's like we all think that we're alone in this, and that, oh my gosh, I'm the only one going through this, and what's wrong with me? There's another one. What's wrong with me? Something's
Yeah.
wrong with me. When really we don't know what's going on. We're only seeing the best part of what's going on in the other person's life. We're not seeing any of the negative.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Mm-hmm.
all really much alike in that way. So when you work with this, you're taking that load off so that you can actually live that life that you're portraying to your, audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. And I'm wondering if there's a piece about our expectation, because
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems like there has become this trend to have a really high expectation to get like immediate results, have things work right now. So when we're wanting to up level or move into something new, and we have this grand idea, this grand vision that we want to create, and then we have this expectation. How does expectation play into that?
Yeah. Expectation is one of those, it's like the law of attraction always talks about making your request, right, to the universe, and then letting it go. Well, how do you do that? You want it so bad. I want this. I expect it to happen because I'm supposed to believe it's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm believing it, then wouldn't I be expecting it, right? But expectation is kind of one of those things where it causes a lot of resistance, because we are expecting, and it's kind of like turns into something else. I expect this, and you're demanding it, you want it. But there's a difference between saying, okay, I expect this, but I'm open to receiving this or better.
Yes.
And so when you turn it that way, you get excited. It's a different feeling than I'm expecting this because I did the work and this is supposed to happen. You are saying, I'm expecting this or better.
Mm-hmm.
So it lets go of that. It allows you to let go when you say, I expect this. I had this happen with a client recently where I said, you know what? You want to make 100,000 in a year. You want to reach six figures. I get that. But you're also saying that it has to come to you in this particular way. And some people believe you have to put that specifically in that. I don't believe that. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that once I put it out there, that I have to trust the universe to bring it back to me in whatever way it's supposed to. It's a gift.
Right.
Gotta let that go. She would not let that go. Nope, it's got to be through my business. I'm like, so you wouldn't like let the lottery? You wouldn't like want to win the lottery? She's like, nope, it's got to be through my business. I'm like, how about it
Yeah.
is? The work through your business, if you're enjoying it, you're loving it, and then you let it go, the universe is rewarding you in a different way, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you've let that go.
But it's funny. It's funny you use that as an example because I can totally relate to this woman because it's like I've worked. I'm going to be the overnight success that took 20 something years, right? Like everybody else, and it's like I have this expectation. I'm saying this out loud, right? That, oh, I've done all this work and I want to see that it comes through my business. So I totally relate. But I also do believe what you're saying. I'm right there with you that we can't tell the universe or source or God how it needs to show up, that we need to, because we're only going in our limited mind of the possibilities, and the possibilities are unlimited. So, yeah.
And I do believe that it will come through in your business,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just one of those steps. It's teaching you to trust. it's teaching you to allow. It's teaching you to see that, wow, I can get these gifts in all sorts of ways. Once you start really getting in that vibe that, you're in that flow, then your business starts to create it too, but it's a
Mm,
process.
it is.
Yeah. And we can't say, well, no, I'm going to have it. Number one, it's going to be this way. And then it's going to be, you got to trust because it's teaching you something. Everything's here for you. Everything's happening for you, not to you. It's happening for a reason. So I love that.
I know that's a tough one to swallow for a lot of people.
Well, and letting go is another thing too. With like, for instance, I had with the autoimmune thing, I had a lot of pain daily, and all my focus was on getting rid of that pain.
Mm.
That's all I
Which
wanted was the pain gone.
which is normal. I mean, when you're in pain like that, or whether it's a physical pain, an emotional pain, a monetary pain, yeah, you just want to get rid of it.
Well, and finally, after I'd been working for a couple of years, I mean, so many other things had changed for me, but the pain hadn't gone away, and I was like, oh God, but I was focused on just the pain. I knew that I was working on the underlying root, the emotions, because that's how you heal pain. But finally one day I had a really good day, still painful, but I felt really happy. I felt
Mm.
joy and peace. And I was like, okay, I said, okay, God, you know what? If I can feel joyful and at peace and calm and feel this good, I can take the pain. So I don't care about the pain anymore. Just help me feel good. Help me feel this amazing energy that I feel today. And it's okay that I have this pain. So you see, I let go
Yeah.
of that resistance and that want and that expectation so much. The next day, the pain was gone.
Mm.
I'm not saying I haven't had days where I felt a little achy or whatever, but that major pain, it was like I had that awakening and I was free. I get goosebumps right now talking about it because I was free that next day because I let go of that energetic hold on me.
Okay, so I want to highlight this because I think this is really important for people to hear, and they're going to be like, but how did she do it? So please say it again. How did you let it go?
I was having such a good day, focusing on how good I felt joy, peace, love. You know, those days when you're like, oh, look at the blue sky. I'm in a honeymoon phase right now. This is so wonderful. I realized that I could handle any kind of discomfort, any kind of pain, anything else if I felt that peace, joy, love. So when I connected to God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, I said, okay, I just want this feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to feel good in this emotional state of love and peace. So I can take the pain if that it's okay. I'm going to switch my gears. I'm not going to focus on the pain anymore. I'm going to focus on the physical pain. I'm not going to focus on the physical pain. I'm going to focus on the feeling good in love and enjoying the moments and the experience and living in the now. That's what I want. I want to feel good. Once I let go of focusing on that pain, it released me. I was released finally. And it was just, I mean, I was like, how did I miss this? And the funny thing is, we still revert back to the old patterns.
Right.
Even though I work with this stuff daily, we all go through our things because life is about evolution, evolving, changing, learning. And even today, I'll find myself getting stuck on, oh, I want to do this and I want this. It's like, no, let go of that. That's not what you're focusing on. All right, I got to remind myself it's normal. Let go of that. Focus on how you really want to feel, which is love, joy, peace.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel good. You want to feel happy. You want to feel good with the people that you're around and within yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So easy because if you have that, life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope y'all, those of you that are listening and watching, can really take that amazing little diamond there and apply that. Um, and you're so right about that. We have to remind ourselves every single day,
Yeah.
and it's capturing those moments when we do have that relief in the now, and that we can take that and then expand on it, expand that. It's like that sacred pause of, oh, here I am feeling this good feeling, and how can you stretch it?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what this life is all about. It's like you know what? It never ends. There's always going to be something else that we want, we need, or we think we need. There's always going to be something else. Otherwise, you're not living.
Right.
You just aren't. I mean, and how many times have you said in your life, well, if I can just get to this point, I'll have arrived. And then you get there and you're like, well, now I want this.
Oh, yes.
Saying to my one client, okay, so last year you were saying you wanted to reach 100,000. Now you're reaching, now I need to reach 200,000. Then I want to reach 300,000. I'm like, there's always going to be more. And it's good because it gets you excited and keeps you moving and
Mm-hmm.
learning. And
Mm-hmm.
you learn so much about yourself. And that is huge right there.
Well, and I think that's the beauty of asking for more is that it does require us to become more of our authentic, true self. It's like
Absolutely.
really asks you to step it up. I mean, we're not just up leveling the results, but we're up leveling who we are.
You
So,
are, and you're uncovering. I like to say that I like to help people uncover their true self, the true you. That person that's free of trauma, health issues, disease, that person that's vibrant and
mm,
healthy. You're uncovering all this because you, at the core, your soul is perfect
yeah.
and has amazing gifts that nobody else could offer.
I love that. So, Melissa, you have an awesome gift for the Academy members. So, if you could tell us what that is, that'd be great.
Okay, I have an abundance. Is it the money blocks
Yes.
abundance? Okay. Yeah, I have an MP3. I've got so many gifts I like to give, but this one is for the money block, and it is basically an MP3 that you can play and listen to at any time during the day, and it's filled with energetic frequencies that help neutralize those negative beliefs and programmings that you have going on in your subconscious.
Mm,
So you
nice.
can plug it in and listen to it, and it's very relaxing too. But you just feel like things are shifting. It's so gentle, but it's so easy because you feel those things shifting as you're listening to it. And it's just being open. Your intention is important. Plug into it. Intention is king, right? Just be open to clearing any of these money blocks that you have, or any financial or abundance blocks that you have.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like that'd be the perfect thing to go to sleep with. Like you can just kind of say, as I sleep, I release my money blocks.
You know what? That's a really good idea. I usually listen to it during the day as I'm just like, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, because
I
you go
love,
into those deeper levels with those.
yes.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it does, and it gets the subconscious easier when you're in that different brain state. So that's awesome. Love it. Good
Yeah.
tip. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah. That's my secret. That's how I'm up level all the time.
That's great. Oh my gosh, I love it.
So I'm wondering if there's any last tip, like real practical tip that you can offer to the listeners and the viewers.
One of the biggest things that I love people to pay attention to is their emotions. Whatever's coming up today, whatever you're feeling, it feels like it might be a circumstance that you're going through, but the emotion that you're feeling around it is your clue.
Hmm.
So everything that you feel is giving you a clue. It's guiding you back in time to an earlier time in your life or something you've inherited from a past life, from your ancestors. And so I would love for you to pay attention to those emotions. That's the number one thing I have my clients do. Nothing comes up it always comes up for a purpose.
Right.
There's always a reason. So by following the breadcrumb back, following that trail back to that earlier route, sometimes just by noticing that early memory that you haven't thought of in years is enough to start clearing it. You
Mm-hmm.
don't even have to do anything else. You don't have to do any other work. Just seeing it, saying, I see you, acknowledging it, telling it it's valid, and not saying, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. It's valid. It's often people won't even have to work on it. So
Yeah.
that's the number one thing is your emotions are your internal guidance system. That's going to show you how to heal. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's a really really important
Yeah.
tip to yeah because again it's like we have all the answers within and so you can tap into that and just allow that to guide you. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy and it's the simplest thing you can do. And People are so quick to stuff their emotions and not feel, and they do things that are like bad patterns or habits to get away from feeling the emotion or to looking at it or acknowledging it, and that's just going to stop you from healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for walking us through that really powerful exercise. It was, like I said, I'd never experienced it before, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. I'm honored to be here, and you're amazing, and I love your radio show and
Thank you.
your podcast and all that. You are just a simply amazing person. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. I received that.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I hope you enjoyed today's guest and got something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at theawakenedgoddess.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.